Hi everyone, Sean here for theworldcupnow.com, bringing you your Barclays Fantasy Premier League tips for Game Week 6. Now, I know I normally post every Thursday, however I will be away tomorrow, so I wanted to get this out to you guys today. And you also notice behind me that the background is a little bit different. The lights are getting a little bit dimmer now because it is getting into the cold winter months. Anyways, we're going to kind of deal with how to deal with the injuries that we've got going on this week. I know Benteke is a large one, so I'm going to kind of focus on that. And we'll go through some other stuff, as always, trying to help you out for this game week. So let's flip the screen and get on with the show. Okay, so I have switched over and just going to go through. I'm on the transfer screen and just look at kind of what's going on the injury scene right now, because the two big ones, one that stemmed from last week was Van Persie, and then mid-game was Benteke. And Benteke is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, so this is posing a lot of problems for managers right now. Also, the fact that Luis Suarez is going to be coming back as well. He played in today's Capital One Cup game against United. They lost, but apparently he did create some chances. I think he hit the bar, if I remember correctly. I'll go into that in a little bit, but in terms of Benteke, if you wanted just a straight swap for, one-to-one, you can probably go Giroud if you don't have him already, or Sturridge, and maybe even a punt on Negredo. So those are three options that you have right there if you just want straight swap. If you do have some money in the bank, you might want to try and look at Suarez. So if you wanted to try that, you may have to go and try move a second player, to get that missing 1 point, etc. value, depending on what you have and who you move around. So that is an option to go with Suarez. There is a lot of hype about him coming back, but you might want to give it just one game. He did line up with Sturridge. So on the Liverpool front, and this is for those of you who have Moses, he was subbed off for Sterling. That does kind of concern me a little bit, just because you don't really want to see that. You want your guys getting full 90s. But apparently he did have a really good header that De Gea had to save. So, kind of good and bad. Now, another injury in the midfield, and this one I don't think is as long as, but you've got Walcott. I think October 9th. That would be, 19th. Wow. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit longer. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 game weeks you're going to have to deal with. So it is a little bit longer than I expected. Obviously, they've updated this. So again, his value is at 9.5. And you've got Ozil at 10.4 already. So it's not going to be a straight swap. And this is kind of unfortunate for people because you still want that Arsenal coverage. You can maybe drop it down to Ramsey, who's been on fire. And he's actually a good value at 6.2. So that would be a down swap, and then you'd have some available funds to move around for the rest of your team. Perhaps maybe going with Eriksen if you didn't have him. Again, you'd probably get some value gained through that as well. And again, you could maybe go with Michu. He's going to have a good run of fixtures coming up as well. So those are some options that you have in midfield. It all depends really on who you have, how many free trades you have, and what kind of hit you're willing to take in terms of your points. So that being said, and talking about hits, with these injuries, you'll notice that I have Chester, who is red, and I'm just going to go to total FPL here, and you can take a look. And because I'm looking at hits, I want to see if players are going to fall this today. Because if I can avoid losing points in terms of my team value, I want to do that. So this is a good tool. Just like I said in my previous videos last week with my wild card, I'm using this on the opposite end to make sure that I don't lose value for players that I've already gained or that I already have. Sorry about that. Just taking a sip of my Earl Grey vanilla. That being said, I don't have to worry about investor just yet, but I am probably going to swap him out because I can't really move him around. So typically what I'll do is I'll just move that. We'll go to defenders. And in this case, since he's pretty much the lowest that you can get, I've already got I didn't even want to butcher his pronunciation, but Gabidon. Probably gonna have to go with Chambers because he's a straight swap. Maybe Turner, but I'm just gonna evaluate their fixtures later on this evening once I'm done this video. If we're gonna look at the fixtures for this week, probably gonna go with United. They're probably gonna be having a strong fixture. The fact that Rooney assisted on a corner for Hernandez's goal makes me a little bit happy in terms of thinking that there's going to be some returns this week. Also, as I mentioned, now that I'm looking at Everton Newcastle, one person you may want to swap out for would be Lukaku. I think he's going to benefit really well from their possession-oriented game, and I think he'll be on the end of a lot of crosses in as well. I think there's going to be a lot of box play. It's kind of funny to say that, but in terms with Everton, and I think that's evident with the free kicks that Baines had last week. He had 2 marvelous goals off free kicks. They were just outside the box, and I think their type or their style of play is going to be seeing a lot more of that. So in the next coming weeks, I may look to swap out, Walker for Baines, but I do have Coleman, so it's going to be kind of tricky, but I'm going to be looking to do that in the next little while. Another good fixture to look at would probably be Liverpool-Sunderland as well. Sunderland have been struggling, they're conceding, and I think their manager was sacked earlier this week, so I think this game week is their first game week with no manager. It might be an interim manager, I haven't read anything about that. That would be another fixture that could yield some goals. So, that being said, hopefully this video gives you a little bit of help in terms of what you're going to look for, but really there's a lot of options that you can do. It just depends on who you have already and whether you're willing to take a hit. So, I wish you good luck, and I will see you back at the normal schedule on Thursday next week.